WrestleMania 38 is one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. The majority of the matches, minus some, were all bangers. The atmosphere was electric. Cody Rhodes and Stone Cold Steve Austin both made their in-ring returns to the WWE on night one of WrestleMania, which was huge. Bianca Belair made history as she is now the new Raw Women's Champion in one of the best matches of the whole entire WrestleMania, in my opinion, as she is now 2-0 in WrestleMania. Roman Reigns became the first ever WWE Universal Champion in a great championship match. Vince McMahon had a match against Pat McAfee on night 2 of WrestleMania at 76 years old, becoming the oldest person to do so. Now that I've finished watching Night 1 and Night 2 and see everybody else talk about it, I'm going to be talking about the things that most people really didn't talk about as I was seeing and that I really enjoyed about WrestleMania. So, enough waiting, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to be talking about is the entrances for WrestleMania 38, as they were Sasha Banks and Naomi rode out in a Lamborghini for their match for the women's tag team championships, and that was really cool to see. Becky Lynch entering in an Escalade was also a great way to set the tone for her as a top heel in the division for her match against Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. The Mysterios ended up popping up from the stage was so cool to see. Edge, literally ascending on a throne surrounded by fire, only cemented himself as a WrestleMania icon. Pat McAfee coming out with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders further showed WWE why he was one of the best signings they ever had. WrestleMania is always the time for the most dramatic entrances, and they did not disappoint. My favorite entrance of the night and of the entire WrestleMania was Bianca Belair having a marching band play her theme song as she came out. I firmly believe that it is one of the most iconic WrestleMania entrances of all time. Once the entrances themselves are memorable, you know the matches will be as well. Well, almost the matches. Rather than talk about all the matches that took place on both nights, I'm going to be talking about the matches that I was personally invested in. The first match I'm going to be talking about is the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Now, even though 2 out of the 4 teams were randomly paired up together, i.e. Natalya and Shayna Baszler and Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, the match itself was really enjoyable to watch. These women were constantly on go, go, go. The tag team maneuvers were so good and perfectly executed. The dives were executed fairly well, and Zelina Vega hit a beautiful moonsault onto Rhea Ripley in the closing moments of the match. The best part of it all was Sasha Banks and Naomi becoming the new tag team champions, and Sasha finally ending her WrestleMania losing streak. Also, their tag team finisher is one of the sickest finishers I've seen in the tag team division in a while. The next match is Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. When I say you have to go watch this match, you have to go watch this match, guys. Not only was it entertaining to watch, it exceeded our expectations. We knew Pat McAfee could wrestle like he did in NXT, but we were expecting the high-octane performance he was going to give us. He gave us. Pat McAfee was doing everything you would expect a cruiserweight to do, and then some. Pat jumping onto the top rope itself and superplexing Austin is a certified Mania moment. Pat McAfee won after hitting a surprise roll-up, and he received an enormous pop. Guys, I didn't even do it justice as I'm explaining it. You have to go see it. The triple threat tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Championships was a showcase of the talent of the tag team division, while also furthering one of WWE's long-term booking, which is RK Bro. The Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy versus RK Bro put on a masterclass of tag team wrestling and showed the whole WWE universe why the tag team championships deserve to be defended at WrestleMania. We had insane maneuvers done during this match that it is literally impossible for me to accurately repeat them all. The biggest pop of the match is when Randy Orton and Matt Riddle hit RKOs out of nowhere on the Street Profits to retain their titles. Cody Rhodes vs Seth Rollins was an overall masterpiece. Not only did Seth Rollins build up this entire feud and match by himself through his great character work, now WWE had a way to properly capitalize on his hard work. After leaving the company for 6 years, he left home as the atrocious Stardust, but came home as the American Nightmare. Cody Rhodes was officially home. The crowd in the stadium went wild. In the theater, we went wild as well. It wasn't enough. If that wasn't enough, Seth and Cody Rhodes killed it. From counter after counter, near fall after near fall, Cody Rhodes hit several crossroads onto Rollins to get his first official win back in the WWE. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville was sports entertainment at its finest. Sami Zayn is such a good heel, and he really elevated Knoxville. There were also very hilarious moments, and there are also brutal moments. Johnny really went all in, and Sami Zayn came out as a big star, even though he had lost the match. Now, my second all-time favorite WrestleMania match of all time, and one of the favorite wrestling matches ever that I have ever seen. The match I had been waiting for since I saw what had happened live at SummerSlam 2021, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. There is a reason why so many articles and so many people are calling this match either their match of the entire Mania or greatest WrestleMania women's wrestling match of all time. 7 months in the making, they were not going to disappoint us. Becky coming out in an Escalade and Bianca having the entire marching band for her entrance will be iconic and further elevated their match. Straight away, they played with our emotions once the bell rung. We almost had a repeat of SummerSlam 2021 where Bianca lost in 26 seconds, but Bianca kicked out at the last second, preventing that from happening. From there, it was just truly perfect execution. The pacing, the kickouts, the facial expressions, all of it was perfect. Becky and Bianca were firing on all cylinders, and the match was hard-hitting. Becky was doing everything in her power to just end the match, while Bianca was doing everything she could to hit the kiss of death onto Becky Lynch. Becky would hit a manhandle slam onto Bianca, onto the steel steps, and Bianca Belair just barely made it into the ring at the count of 9. Becky was distraught. She didn't know what she could do to keep Belair down. Becky decided that she was going to try to hit the manhandle slam from the top rope this time, but Becky Lynch kicked out of it and hit the KOD onto her to win. 1, 2, 3. Just like that, Bianca Belair is our new Raw Women's Champion. Bianca becomes the first ever woman to ever win the SmackDown Women's Championship and the Raw Women's Championships in back-to-back WrestleManias, and she is also the first person ever to win their first 2 WrestleManias ever since Shawn Michaels. I went absolutely crazy. She was the best thing about WrestleMania, and don't even at me in the comments talking about how Cody Rhodes or Stone Cold was better than her. In my eyes, no one was better than her. It had been 19 years since Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestled a match in WWE, and it had been 10 years since Vince McMahon wrestled a match in WWE. Well, we got to see both wrestle on the most stupendous WrestleMania ever. Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestling Kevin Owens in the main event of night 1 in a no-holds-barred match was amazing. Stone Cold hadn't missed a step. He was hitting the ropes and busting out suplexes like it was the late 1990s. Kevin Owens made Stone Cold look like $1 million, and he has cemented himself as one of WWE's greatest talents. It is awesome to see Stone Cold wrestling, as we all thought it would never be possible again. When he hit the stunner on Kevin Owens, the stadium absolutely went wild. Vince McMahon wrestling again was also something we thought we would never see. Him wrestling Pat McAfee had the entire stadium going crazy. Despite being 76, Vince looked really good for his age, and he was busting out clotheslines like it was nothing. Pat McAfee had the highest honor of wrestling him, as not many people can say that they have. After punching a football into Pat McAfee and having Austin Theory attack him during their match, Vince pinned him for the 1-2-3, not only becoming the oldest person to ever wrestle WrestleMania, but the oldest person to ever win a WrestleMania. After going over everything I talked about in this video, I can say without a doubt, WrestleMania 38 is indeed the most stupendous WrestleMania ever. The moments will go unforgotten, the matches were banger, and history was made. Not only did WWE meet my expectations, they actually exceeded it. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch is not only the greatest WrestleMania match, period, but Bianca is on track to be a huge star like Asuka, like Bayley, like Charlotte, and even like Roman Reigns. That is it for this video, guys. If you liked the video, be sure to light that like button on fire and subscribe to join the vlog. Comment below if you agree with me or not. This is Phoenix4568 signing off, and until next time.